Hello, welcome to Module 4 of the Proclamation 2021 State Review Panel Training, State Review Panel Responsibilities. This is Amy Williams, Review and Adoption Director in the Instructional Materials and Implementation Division at TEA. During this training, I will discuss breakouts and correlations, TPG coverage, errors, feedback, review logistics, and publisher options. You will need paper and pen to take notes and also a simple 4-function calculator. Even your cell phone will suffice. This training takes approximately 15 minutes to complete. Let's start with breakouts and correlations. TEA uses the language in the TPG end-of-year outcomes to create the breakouts. For an outcome to be considered addressed in instructional materials, each of the associated breakouts must be addressed. The outcomes are separated into breakouts using specific rules that we're going to review now. When an outcome includes the conjunction "and," everything separated by that word must be included in the instructional materials. In the example shown, child shows self-awareness and can express pride in age-appropriate abilities and skills. Each one of those items must be included in instructional materials in order for that outcome to be considered addressed. So you see 3 breakouts. Child shows self-awareness, child can express pride in age-appropriate abilities, and child can express pride in age-appropriate skills. When an outcome contains the word "including," everything in the list following "including" will be a separate breakout. In this example, child participates in classroom music activities including singing, playing musical instruments, and moving to rhythms will be divided into 3 separate breakouts. Child participates in classroom music activities including singing, including playing musical instruments, and including moving to rhythms. The instructional materials must provide alignment to all 3 breakouts in order for that outcome to be considered addressed. When an outcome contains the word "or," instructional materials must include at least one of the items connected by the word "or," but not all. In this example, the outcome is child creates or recreates stories, moods, or experiences through dramatic representations. That outcome only has one breakout because the instructional materials can show that the child creates or recreates stories, moods, or experiences through dramatic representations. If an outcome contains the phrase "such as," the items following "such as" are only provided as illustrative examples. In this outcome, it states that the child demonstrates use of location words such as over, under, above, on, beside, next to, between, in front of, near, far, etc. You'll notice that the breakout only states that the child demonstrates use of location words. Instructional materials may include the words listed after "such as," but they're not required to. If you're interested in viewing the breakout documents, you can visit the Review and Adoption Process webpage and click on the link for breakout documents. Once you're on that page, you'll search for the heading Texas Pre-Kindergarten Guidelines and will find the breakouts listed under each domain. Publishers have identified where in their materials they believe each of the breakouts is covered using citations. Citations are collected on a correlation document. Not all publishers are trying to achieve 100% coverage. When deemed developmentally appropriate, breakouts must be addressed twice in the materials intended for students. Each breakout must also be addressed twice in the materials intended for teachers. There are 2 types of citations. Narrative citations provide an opportunity for one of the following: the student to learn the knowledge or skill, or the teacher to teach the knowledge or skill. Activity citations provide an opportunity for the student to demonstrate the knowledge or to practice the skill. If you accept a publisher's narrative and activity citations from the student materials, that breakout is automatically considered addressed in the teacher materials. This is because it is assumed that all teachers have access to the student materials when planning instruction. In order to be eligible for adoption, publishers must successfully demonstrate alignment to at least 50% of the TPG in each domain. This means that the publisher provided acceptable narrative and activity citations for every breakout for at least 50% of the end-of-year outcomes. Here's a table that shows how many outcomes appear in each domain and the minimum number of outcomes a publisher must cover in order to achieve 50% TPG coverage. You'll also be asked to report errors and provide feedback. Your primary role is to determine if the narrative citations provide an opportunity for the student to learn or the teacher to teach the knowledge or skill, and the activity citations provide an opportunity for the student to demonstrate the knowledge or practice the skill. You are not evaluating how well the citations accomplish these tasks. If you encounter content that is factually incorrect, you are obligated to report it. This includes any content that may impede student learning, including grammatical and punctuation errors. This does not include omissions. You may have strong opinions about the quality of content you encounter. You are encouraged to provide the publisher with suggestions, but may not reject a citation unless it fails to provide an opportunity for the teacher to teach or the student to learn, practice, or demonstrate the knowledge or skill. If you reject a citation, we ask that you provide the publisher with feedback regarding why the content cited failed to meet the standard. Now let's talk about the review logistics. You will be placed on a team of 3 or 5 people. There will be a total of 8 teams. Each product will be reviewed by one team. If the product is offered in both English and Spanish, it will be assigned to a bilingual team. When you're assigned a product, you will receive a digital copy of the instructional materials and an evaluation instrument. Each panel is charged with 3 responsibilities. Determine the extent to which the TPG are covered, report all factual errors discovered during the review, and provide the publisher with feedback. You will review each narrative citation for a breakout until you have accepted a narrative citation for that breakout, or you have rejected all narrative citations for that breakout. You will repeat this process for each activity citation. If you accept a citation, you should not continue reviewing citations of that type for that breakout. You must accept a citation if it provides one of the following: an opportunity for the teacher to teach the component of the knowledge or skill, an opportunity for the student to learn the component of the knowledge or skill, or an opportunity for the student to demonstrate the component of the knowledge or practice the skill. Each publisher has indicated on its correlation document the percentage of TPG it believes the product covers. Your findings will be documented on the evaluation instrument and compared to the publisher's calculated TPG percentage. The publisher's next steps are determined by how closely your findings align with their calculations. In this section, I'll discuss the publisher's options once the reviewers have completed their review. If you determine the product meets or exceeds the publisher's projected TPG percentage, the review is complete and the product is eligible for adoption. If you find that a product meets at least 75% of the TPG the publisher indicated the product would meet, the publisher may present new content or new citations to achieve a higher percentage. If not, the publisher may request a re-review by a new panel. If eligible, the publisher may submit new content or new citations for any breakouts the reviewers determined were not covered in the original submission. The publisher has 24 hours from the time we send the initial report to notify us of its intent to provide new content or new citations. This does not apply to any breakouts for which the publisher did not originally provide citations. If a publisher is not eligible to provide new content or new citations because it meets less than 75% of its projected TPG percentage, it may request a review by another panel. Now we're going to work through some scenarios to make sure you really understand the difference between eligibility for adoption and eligibility to provide new content or new citations. If you didn't already grab a calculator, please pause the video and get one now. In this first scenario, the publisher's projected TPG coverage was 90% in each domain, and the SRP identified TPG coverage was 61% in each domain. Is this product eligible for adoption? Yes, it does cover at least 50% of the TPG in each domain, therefore it is eligible for adoption. Is this publisher eligible to provide new content or new citations? No. Since 61 is only 67.78% of 90, the SRP identified TPG percentage must be at least 75% of the publisher identified TPG in order for the publisher to be eligible to provide new content or new citations. In this scenario, the publisher's projected TPG coverage was 100% in each domain, and the SRP identified TPG coverage was at least 90% in each domain. Is this product eligible for adoption? Yes, since the product covers at least 50% of the TPG in each domain, it is eligible for adoption. But is this publisher eligible to provide new content or new citations? Yes. The publisher achieved greater than 75% of its goal, therefore it can provide new content or new citations to try to reach the 100%. In the third scenario, the publisher's projected TPG coverage was 60% in each domain, and the SRP identified TPG coverage was 61% in each domain. Is this product eligible for adoption? Yes, it still covers at least 50% of the TPG in each domain. But is this publisher eligible to provide new content or new citations? No. Actually, the SRP identified TPG is greater than the publisher identified TPG. Therefore, the publisher met its goal and cannot provide new content or new citations to achieve a higher percentage. In this final scenario, the publisher's projected TPG coverage was 50% in each domain, and the SRP identified TPG coverage was 41% in each domain. Is this product eligible for adoption? No. The product must cover at least 50% of the TPG in each domain in order to be eligible for adoption. But is this publisher eligible to provide new content or new citations? Yes. The publisher did achieve 82% of its goal, therefore it can still provide new content or new citations to try to achieve the 50%. Let's do a quick review before we wrap up. Publishers correlated their instructional materials to the TPG end-of-year outcomes by providing citations for the breakouts. For an outcome to be considered addressed, every associated breakout must also be addressed. For a breakout to be considered addressed, it must have an acceptable narrative and activity citation. Once you've accepted a narrative and activity citation for a breakout, you move to the next breakout. Materials must meet at least 50% of the end-of-year outcomes in each domain to be eligible for adoption. Publishers estimated the percentage of outcomes the materials cover in each domain. If the reviewers determine the materials cover at least 75% of the publisher's estimate, the publisher may provide new content or new citations to achieve its goal. If you have any questions about anything you've heard today, please feel free to submit them to the Instructional Materials Help Desk or bring them to the meeting on Monday. Thank you so much for your time.